send it to you.
Okay.
And thereby you formulate that 4 or 5 pages, whatever, no more than, I don't think there will be 10 pages, but between 5 and 10 will be the pages.
Okay.
So 5 pages roughly to some 10 pages, some information. The book will be around 200 pages total.
We said around 150.
Huh?
We had, I think 150 pages we talked about.
Yeah, around that, because I'm not sure, because we don't want to cut just because it is more.
Yeah.
But definitely it has to be 150 plus.
Okay. Right.
And now these are the 2 points. First one is to polish the ones that are already there. And you, as a reader or as an editor, you will have a different perspective of the point explained. Then even these pages can be questioned and expanded.
Right.
Because for me, when I'm writing, I may not have put all the information needed for someone reading as an outsider. Because I'm assuming that I know this, so why should I put it? But if you say that these are necessary to fill the gaps in the mind, for me, there will not be any gaps because my mind automatically fills it. Even if it's not on the chapter.
Right.
So in that manner, if you can fill these and make them, first of all, clear, that is the purpose. For which, even if you have to add 2 more pages, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because the initial pages or initial chapters are important to ground the person into the book.
Right.
Later, it will carry on its own. Rather, initial grounding is first few chapters are the ones. Because if I take any book, start reading, if the first few chapters are not putting a hook on me to stay on the book, no matter what I give it later, nobody would stay on.
Right.
So that's number 1. Number 2, every day, 1 chapter discussion.
Okay.
And every 2-3 days, or whenever you are ready, send me 1 chapter. If 1 chapter is per day, meaning 5 pages per day, is not much, I guess. I will work on that, and I'll keep adding with your questions in track mode, clarify your points, and accept or suggest or modifications or delete your suggestions for adding. Because you can suggest, add something here, then it will make better. You do not know what it should be added, but you know that there is a gap. Those gaps I have to fill.
Right.
So these are the mechanistic points of the book.
Okay.
And we surely have to finish it, because just after your call, in the Zoom call, Dr. Tilochan Mahapatra, he was the former Director General of Agriculture Research, and he's the president of current Academy of Agriculture Sciences of India. He is very happy to write a preface. He says, send me now. I said, the book is not ready yet. Chapters are there. So I'll send him. And Pravasi Bharati Divas, certainly it will, by the time that we come around, it is possible. Someone, if you know someone, it's fine. I don't know anyone, but something will happen. And someone contacted the member of parliament of Indore. That's where the meeting is happening. He's the current member of parliament. So there's my friend circle there. She suggested, Sudha Jain, she suggested that because he's an MP from that state, Indore itself, he would be knowing about Pravasi Bharati Divas that is happening in Indore. Whether they come forward or not, she said that she will make sure that the book is going to be put out on the table there. So these are the 2 things.
Great. I will definitely be cheering for you. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be a big success. You have done so much of hard work. So it is definitely the right time to get the fruits of your hard work. And yeah, so first of all, these three, all the things, I have one or two questions from this. So shall we discuss this or shall we start with some other chapter right now?
No. After finishing these three chapters, putting this chapter behind, then we'll go to the fourth one. So first chapter,
Okay.
ask your questions and this
Okay.
discussion, and then revise this
Okay.
today and send it to me.
Okay. Okay. So the first one, like uh, as a reader, what questions have come to my mind? Like this, there are, like you have mentioned, there are so many grains, so many things. So farmers have been, working on, what you call production, everything. And India is an agriculture, what we call heaven. There are so many food products available. So my question is that, you know, like you were curious about this product, this food, this grain, and it has so much of nutrition, and it gives, it is the best, what you call, you can say, a natural medicine for malnutrition, like you have mentioned in that. And it gives a lot of energy, and this, and of course, farmers need a lot of energy, physical energy, and for working, and other people also need it. So India being a poor country, why till now nobody got this, what you call, started supporting you? It has been so many years. I think 2010 and 2022. It has been 12 years.
Okay, there is a lengthy answer and there is a short answer. The short answer is not only now with me, but since 1952, Indian agricultural scientists had this seed in their vault. There is a big vault in Delhi, Pusa, underground vault. I actually went there.
Where?
Yes.
Okay.
In Pusa, in Delhi, Agriculture Research Institute,
Okay,
Indian
okay.
Council of Agriculture Research, there is a big vault, underground vault, where they store seeds. In
Okay.
that vault, they had quinoa too, since 1952.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I will send you some documentary evidence of what they have and how they have been associated or acquainted with and nothing has happened. And they use quinoa. The only one person that uses quinoa that I know personally was one Cecilia. She's a scientist, and she used quinoa seeds from that vault to plant 10-20 plants in her lab, which means she takes 10-20 seeds, puts her in the lab, and then she grows these plants to test if there is any virus in the samples that the farmers have given her. Farmers or research people have a lot of time test the presence of virus in any crop. And quinoa is a very sensitive plant. The moment if there is a virus that attacks quinoa plant, you would know much earlier, much easily than any other plant. And also they have standardized internationally how to use this plant as a testing tool for detecting viruses. So they all know for a long time, not just myself. That's the short answer.
Okay. This is a short answer.
Yes.
Okay.
Short answer, I mean that it is not just me. Many scientists may have known about it, but that is
Okay.
the nature of people.
Hmm.
The second one is little bit longer, is that there is a tendency in any country, particularly the third world countries, that we all have everything what we need. You don't have to tell me from West.
Right.
Or maybe this is the short answer.
This is the short one. Other ones are
But the ignorance of this grain and its relevance to the malnutrition is unpardonable.
right, right, right. You know, it's an irony that you sitting in US, you thought about like development of India and development of this product for the benefit of Indians. My curiosity is why nobody thought about sitting here in India. So this is a perfect answer. I think it will waken their senses that a person sitting there, although he's not here itself, he's there since so many years, and still he's so much focused on what you call the future of India, right?
And but I'm not disappointed or I'm not angry or anything, because compared to Norman Borlaug and his work with wheat is almost similar in the
Right.
domain of malnutrition, for which he received a Nobel for Peace, because they did not know how to give him a Nobel Prize. It's one of the paradoxical situations in the Nobel history. They wanted, everybody wanted to give a Nobel Prize to Norman Borlaug, but they did not know how to give him. On what subject?
Okay.
So finally they decided, let's give him in the peace, because that's the easiest one to justify. Science, it's too complicated to justify.
Right.
So Norman Borlaug is an average, normal, or below average scientist. He did not want to do science. He did science. Exactly. I think there is a chapter that we will be talking about, but now that the question you asked, so we may be going back and forth, but you can put it them properly. He went to work in northern Mexico, just as I went to work with Araku Valley in Andhra Pradesh. There, the technical knowledge, technical know-how, everything is at the lowest level possible, either for him or for me. His goal was not personal, but his goal was set by the Rockefeller Foundation to develop better varieties of wheat. And why they were doing in northern Mexico, God only knows the reasons, because US grows enormous amount of wheat, but why they didn't do these experiments here and they wanted to do there in the most terrible circumstances, both in terms of resources and the conditions around him. He didn't want to do it, but after all, he's a young fellow with a kid, married, needs some money, not from a rich family. He's from Iowa Plains, a farmer's son.
Okay.
So he worked there somehow, and he employed the local uneducated kids by giving a quarter for a Coke can whenever they worked. And he developed the wheat varieties of very high production and also some nutrient values. When he saw that malnutrition is going to hit the world in 1950s and 60s, he said that this wheat variety is going to save people from dying in millions. So he went to India. He met Indira Gandhi, Krishna Menon, all those people, waiting in the corridors for a very, very long period of time and not getting appointments and all that. Right now, of course, India is seeing a big change. A foreigner is not a big deal. But at that time, a foreigner is a big deal. Even an Indian coming back from in 50s, someone who returned from any foreign country is a big thing. Even though he was waiting there in the corridors of these ministers, they never bothered. So to answer your question in a different way, when Norman Borlaug, of course, When he was waiting, he was not big Nobel Prize winner, but a scientist with a good suggestion for the country to change its production wheat varieties and avoid death of people due to malnutrition or lack of food. But he did the same thing to Pakistan also, Ayub Khan. Then Ayub Khan somehow decided to do something. So he said that if this wheat variety is so good, please plant it in my front lawn. And he asked his scientists, certainly he's an intelligent man, there is no question. On one side, the normal wheat, which the country is growing. On the other side of the road, he planted Norman Borlaug's wheat. So every day he has to drive through that to reach his house in his palace or some big place. So he saw the difference over 3 months period. But he lost 3 months. So the season is approaching and he wanted to have the seed. So he ordered plane loads of seed. Normally the seed or this kind of grains are transported by the ship. But he ordered a plane load. That's when Indian government was shocked to see why he is ordering a plane load of the seed. That's how it came into existence in India. And the Green Revolution, everybody praises, oh, Green Revolution is great. MS Swaminathan was the person who actually had the mantle on his shoulders because he consistently stayed with Norman Borlaug and it paid rich rewards for him. So I don't feel bad, or I know the nature of these, how they are ignored again and again. I may not be the only one talking about quinoa, but
Right.
there may have been between 1952 and now, or whatever that several years, many might have talked about it. But the only distinction is, realizing all these facts, I decided not to talk to and keep quiet, and I went and planted with my own money. And we started selling. That's when everybody got the idea that we also can do. If we can do from sitting in New York, why can't we do it? That's what in reality, I wanted a practical solution for this. And many other crops that came to India to give soya, palm oil, all these things also went through these kind of cycles because of the systems, I wouldn't say lethargy, but systems lack of interest or would not accept anything that easily. At a philosophical level, yes, nature will not accept anything easily. However good it may be, it takes time.
Right. Fine.
And the entire
Quite
chapter of
clear about-
Borlaug, I published another, republished another book, abridged and republished another book called Scientists Greater Than Einstein. Norman Borlaug is one of the chapters. I'll send that also as a PDF file. You can download that and see that.
Okay. You know, another thing, what I was feeling, like, I've seen, not in this thing, but we can, I think, put a comparison kind of a chart also, like when we are comparing the nutritional values and, should we put it, or I think you are a better judge for this.
No, definitely we'll give all this information. What we can do is, for those who are really interested, let us not make this into a scientific book. We'll give a QR code. We'll give a QR code at the end of the book. And all this will be on a website where they can check. I have the table. I can send it to you.
Okay. Okay, great.
So you asked a very significant question to determine the nature of the book. The nature of the book is any high school student or aerospace engineer also should be able to read, rather than an agriculture scientist or someone who is interested in malnutrition.
Right.
It should be a story like.
Right. One interesting point which I'm going to cover is your wife serving you that, which actually it was the, what you call, it started the Newton movement, like you saw it in your plate. So I'm going to prepare an interesting kind of a storyline, not, like it should be something, like when I'm talking about biographies also, I'm not just writing like this person was born here, this and that. It starts from some phase of their life, right? And goes back to, something like which awakens the curiosity of the reader. Like when I'm talking about you, I will not talk about like, he's a scientist, this. I will talk about some very, what you call interesting phase of your life. And then out you come from the book. Like, okay, this is the person and he's the one who did this. So I will work on, some or the storyline for this. And when I send it to you, yeah, I think it will create some kind of a very interesting storyline, right? And then you can give your suggestions wherever you want. And I would like to mention your wife's name also in this.
Sure, I'll put it in Vasundhara Kalasapudi. She's a psychiatrist.
Okay.
She's a doctor.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm quite clear actually about the chapters. Only thing is somewhere I felt that I should know. Okay. Okay, like this project about making a big impact, that also I've understood. We have written the meeting took place on 27 November 2010 at his residence. Right. So, like, you have one thing, the project was going on at Andhra Pradesh, right? You started cultivation.
Yes.
So, how come you thought about Narendra Modi?
No, the Narendra Modi event happened before the entire Quinoa project.
Okay.
So in 2010, I was visiting almost 2-3 times a year.
Okay.
Visiting Kutch. Virayatan is a Jain organization.
Okay.
And I was visiting, and to go to Kutch, the major route is to go to Ahmedabad and from there take a train or go to Bhuj via a flight from Bombay.
Okay.
So sometimes it so happened I was going through. So in my travels, I was, for the first time when I was going to Ahmedabad, because I did not know anyone, even this person who I mentioned to you, those who I know, they were not there in Ahmedabad at that time. I did not meet them by then in US.
Okay.
So fairly, this place is new to me without any knowledge. So one of my IPS officer friends said that if you are going to Ahmedabad and you don't know anyone, I can introduce you to one of the IGs there. That's how I met IG Keshav Kumar. He was the IG of prisons at that time. So because he hosted me, he came to have dinner with me at the police officers' mess in Shahi Bagh. So we developed some kind of relation. On and off, we used to meet whenever I traveled past through Ahmedabad. That's all I know. Later, one day when I was in Kutch, it's Virayatan, is in a place called Chakaniya. Chakaniya is a very, very small village between Bhuj and Mandvi. I got a call, said that our chief minister wants to meet you. Let us know when you would like to come and meet. So I said that there must be something wrong because, first of all, there could be one digit wrong also could come to me, right? A phone number of 10 digits. Even if they make pressing one digit, that it could land. my name is Srinivasa Rao and I'm a scientist. I have nothing to do with the Gujarat or practically speaking with Indian circumstances. I left India in 1984 and I don't think I'm the candidate that you are looking for. The other person said that this is from the Chief Minister's office and I'm an IAS officer. We know everything about you quite well and we know that's the reason why our Chief Minister wants to meet you. Then when they are so clear, definitely I went there. That's when this happened in 2010. Afterwards, or around that time, back and forth between India and New York, I experienced the quinoa as my food. Malnutrition has been there in the background of all our discussions, thinking, because no country will progress with malnutrition burden not taken care of. India definitely did not take care of the malnutrition burden. That's when I went to Delhi and Ministry of Health and everywhere afterwards, after I met him, to take up a big project kind of thing. At the same time, I can tell you, I did not make a plan to say that I have to make a big project or anything. He said that. But probably subconsciously, that is driving me all the time to look for a big project. The big project is to produce 1 million tons of quinoa.
Okay. Yes, I think everything is clear to me. I've understood. And okay, this Prabhu Pada movement. Right.
But
I think what I can do is let me prepare, all the pages based on the these chapters which you have given to me, and I think I'm clear almost about everything. Okay. You mentioned about this Quinoa Research Center. So, so has anything been like still it is in the planning stage, or it is still like what is the process right now? Which stage it is right now?
oh, Quinoa Research Center is something that I cannot do it as an individual. It has to be done by the government. And I met some of the government officers who are in that kind of administrative position, as well as the scientists. And one of the scientists, Dr. Murthy, he was heading the Ragi improvement project. And he developed 25 varieties of Ragi, which are better in terms of nutrition as well as the yields, so that the farmers are going to be benefited if they use those new varieties of seeds that he developed through his research. So he and I sat and developed a plan for developing the quinoa seed for Indian circumstances. All seeds must be developed based on the region where it will be planted. No single seed is good in all the parts of any country, including United States or Bolivia. So for that, he drafted, he and I prepared a draft version of the proposal, and that came out to be 25 crores required over 5 years, which means 5 crores per year. That's what his past experience was. This was proposed long time back, 2014-15, during that. And we prepared the document, submitted it to Gujarat, Chief Minister, Rajasthan, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh. Nothing happened. even today.
As usual.
And the same is submitted to, I did not drop the ball. The same is submitted in August, on August 27th, 26th to the Leh Hill Council for Development for the agriculture aspect of this.
And right now, I think this is the need of the current situation, because I think Mr. Modi ji, he has been stressing about farming, and he's working so much for the development of the farmers, because in the past few years there have been a lot of problems. So I think this is the right time for this book to be published, so that people actually become aware that and the farmers specifically, this can do a lot of benefit to the agricultural face of India.
Yeah, the research center requirement is number one, to improve the seed variety that can give more than 1 ton. Right now, seed anywhere in India gives only 1 ton per acre. It can be improved to make 2 tons per acre, which means that actually doubles the farmer's revenue. Not only it doubles the farmer's revenue, it also will make an impact on the price to come down to meet the people who need it the most, the lower middle class. Upper class, it doesn't matter. They can get the seed quinoa from even US also. They don't have to bother about whether it is grown here or not, or Bolivia. That's number one. Number two, at the government level, country level, 6 million hectares, 6+ million hectares of salt land is left out without any meaningful agricultural production, at least on records. This information is again put together in the presentation to the Chief Minister of Gujarat, because one of the scientists, agriculture scientists from Gujarat, and I prepared this information together because he has the knowledge of these details. And I went to him and we together said that yes, between Rajasthan and Gujarat, there could be millions of acres of land that requires a crop so that the people living nearby, the farmers living nearby, can get benefited. If both the things happen, which means number one, if 2 tons of quinoa per acre is a reality, and out of 6 million hectares, even 1 million hectares is brought under the cultivation of quinoa, because these are salt affected lands, and quinoa likes salty lands. Other plants and other crops do not like it, except salicornia, which is a negligible fancy foodstuff. So leaving salicornia aside, they are not growing salicornia also anyway. Salicornia it can be used as a saltish leaf, very small, thin leaf on the salad, but not for regular food item. So if these two things happen, India will have at least 1 million tons of quinoa every year. If once the 1 million tons of quinoa is there, today there are maybe 10,000 to 20,000 tons. And if the production goes by 50%, 100 times, 50 to 100 times, then the price of quinoa will come down from 200 to probably 100 rupees. When it is 100 rupees a kilo, it is really affordable for any class, because rice is 50 rupees, let us say, and quinoa is 100 rupees. But if you eat quinoa, you have to eat only half of what you eat for the rice. Therefore, the price is practically the same.
And like you mentioned in the last, I think we had a discussion that like even in Ladakh, in the cold region, it is growing very well and it uses, I think, very less water. So it can be the answer to so many, agricultural land where I think in Rajasthan there is a water scarcity. There are so many areas where there is a water scarcity. So, and even in cold, regions in India, this can be a perfect answer to the food requirements and the agriculture production. It can definitely boost this agriculture market, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. And this campaign in India to use food as medicine. So, what, like, can you elaborate a little bit about it?
Yes. This India is having a large number of people, and vast majority of Indians, say 50%, cannot really afford a doctor so easily, because no doctor takes less than 100 rupees these days.
Right.
And for most of the simple common ailments like cough, cold, pain, indigestion, constipation, these kind of routine problems, food has definitely very clear, simple solutions. Whether it is from ancient Indian knowledge or you call it Ayurveda, it doesn't matter. So with these simple techniques, if they avoid going to the doctor, the countries will save in thousands of crores for the lower middle class people. The example is that, let's say a mother finds that the child is not able to digest well, and the child, male or female, needs something to stimulate the digestion, thereby the child can eat well and therefore the child can grow well. At that period, it is very critical. The growth is very critical. Every day matters a lot, because unlike the adults, the growth of a child is dramatic. Anyone who is observing will know that. And the growth of physical nature is one aspect, but the growth of brain, which we do not see, is a different aspect, which is going to affect them over a long period of time. Physical, we can revive. There's no question. Even if one is malnourished, they can be revived to their maximum potential, to their growth. But for brain, it is not so easy. I have a great example for that. One of my travels, I met somebody, Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs is a heavyweight champion of the United States.
Okay.
And he almost looks like twice my size, both in terms of height and, yeah, looks like, because, you know, I'm 5 feet and 5 feet 3 inches, and he's 6'3", I think. But that 1 foot difference is a dramatic difference after 5. It looks almost he's double my size. And of course, body weight wise also, he's a heavyweight champion. Therefore, his weight definitely is triple or 2.5 times of mine. So we sat together one of the travels on the flight, and he introduced himself. I said that I'm a scientist. He asked me, what do you do? I'm a scientist. He said, I'm a heavyweight champion. I said, I never met any boxing, or I don't have any knowledge. So I don't know whether you must be knowing, he said. No, I don't know. Yeah, you said that you live in US. Yes, even if I live all my life in US, I did not know, because I don't know what's boxing. And initially he felt offended, but you know, he understood that people cannot, all people may not know everyone. So he said that I love scientists, and we started chatting. And he started telling his stories. He said that I was horrible. What do you do? I said malnutrition, all those kind of things I talk. He said, I was a malnourished child.
Okay.
And I was thrown out by my mother, who was a drug addict.
Okay.
And this is a very, those kind of scenarios I understand very well, because in New York area, these are very common among the blacks or even whites, but blacks, obviously you would know them.
Right.
But one of the white Americans took him, fed him, and trained him in boxing. So his body was ready for everything as a boxer. His brain did not develop that well because with his kind of world prestige in his domain, he's an uncontested leader for a while in the boxing. But he got into trouble all the time because he made some stupid mistakes. Fighting at the cinema theater, punching someone, doing this, doing that, getting into the court, troubles, all those things. So he often confides to me saying that I don't know how to control this, Dr. Rao. I said, you have to, otherwise, that is the brain function. Your brain,
Right.
you have to control. Nobody else can control. So my point is,
Right.
malnutrition at the early stage affects both body and brain, but body can recover later.
Brain cannot recover.
Right.
Right. And that is why, in India, I think why we Indians are, I'm not biased, but you are a right example. Indians are, I think, quite intelligent and their brains are quite functional because the mothers are taking maximum mothers. They are taking good care, who can afford, and ever since the child's birth, they are giving him good quality, what you call food with which is perfect for the development of the brain. So I think we are producing so many intelligent people, scientists, and so many what you call. I would not say that only India, but yes, wherever mothers are paying attention to the development of the child and specifically food is concerned, it is like, yes, it affects. And if you see, the child's behavior is also affected by the kind of food he is fed in the initial year. Because all these problems, like the what you call the later stage, what affects the mind is because the body is not getting the kind of nourishment it needs, and indirectly it is affecting the brain also. And maybe that creates all these problems in the life, like this boxer, because the brain was not developed properly. That is why the frustration, the kind of behavioral problem he suffered. And I think the
Shannon Riggs,
depression
yes.
problem,
Yeah.
even the
The reason,
depression problem is because of this.
the reason for that is, imagine your own house or building, a big building with a lot of electrical wires running in the walls behind, and every electrical wire carries power. But every electrical wire needs insulation. If the insulation is not proper, they get in contact, and often it gets sparks, or as you
Right.
said, with the word frustration. So the cover for the nerve cells is fat, in a pure, simple language. That fat has to come from the food.
Hmm.
And that food has to have that fat, for example, the ghee, Indian ghee, or any food, nutritious items like dry fruits, oils. So those things, if they are missing, which surely poor people, they cannot afford all these things. If they can afford the
Right.
plain carbohydrate rice with carbohydrate and protein, that in itself is good. So even in
Right.
my situation, often I was under the malnutrition for a while in a brief period of my early days.
Really?
Yeah, there is no doubt, because my mother wrote down these things, so I have a recorded evidence, and I have corroborated that evidence with my aunts who were very young at that
Acha.
time.
Acha. Uh-huh.
So due to some familial politics, circumstances, whatever, I was not given the best milk, best food. And one of the doctors in the family circles noticed, and then he alerted. Probably that affected me to a great extent at that time. And that recovery is not that easy. As we discussed earlier, like Shannon Briggs and me, we are the very good compare and contrast. No one developed my body but someone developed his body, he became a heavyweight champion. And we tried to develop, in the sense, my education, but could not be that successful.
Okay.
When I say could not be that successful, you have to take the range and scale. Everyone knows where they stand really, though others cannot appreciate that. I know my potential, where I failed the most, or where I could have not been that bad, which means how successful I could have been.
Right. So I think I'm quite clear now. And as far as the photographs are concerned, that of course you keep on sharing to me, which is, I think we talked about.
Which one?
The photographs,
Yes. Yes.
Right? That you keep on sharing. So I'll keep on placing that also. So later on, we can decide like which photographs can be placed at, according to the chapters.
Yeah. When you are finalizing the text, my suggestion is put it in brackets or some such notation that a photograph is needed here, and I'll provide the.
Sure. I think I'm quite clear about all the chapters which you have sent. So let me start working on this. And wherever I feel that I need, I think even I'm quite clear about everything, but still let me work on the different, increasing the pages, and wherever I feel I'll put my suggestion also, and I'll put the photograph also wherever it is needed. Right?
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll send all these reference materials via email. For example, I talked about Shannon Briggs.
Yeah.
Right. I'll send all these references links in the mails, so that if you have to refer to Shannon Briggs, you can. And if we have to include him also in the book, no problem, because I'll call him and tell him.
Done. Okay. And happy Diwali in advance.
For you too. And I'm sorry, my fellows, I think he will come back. He went to his town, I think, his hometown.
Okay.
And we'll try to do it this evening, the transfer part. Because already they added the account to the company account.
I know.
Company bank account.
I know.
So it will be done as soon as he comes back.
I have your 1 rupee. So I know.
It actually happened that way. When I asked my daughter married a Punjabi.
Okay.
So I asked the bride's groom's father and mother, what shall we give? They said that you just put 1 rupee, don't bother, because we are not talking about dowry or anything.
Okay.
Then I said that okay, we put the 1 rupee. So we performed the wedding, and I was trying to put 1 rupee coin.
So I got your 1 rupee.
And my son-in-law did not get any money later.
No.
But don't worry.
But he is very lucky, he has such a gem of a father-in-law. Seriously.
So we'll send it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.